Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo to talk once again about this fire danger tonight. And in that particular location is where wind is a big concern.
Yeah, the problem with some of these storms that are moving through right now, that is right where we have that severe thunderstorm warning, is that the storms are kind of just moving in the same line that they've been in. So right now they're talking about the wind-driven storm or the wind-driven fire, and that wind is coming from storms that aren't really moving closer to the fire.
And you said they're not really bringing rain, which is what they need. They're just bringing wind.
This is a really, really difficult one to explain. Rain is coming down in such a manner that we do have flood concerns. Flood concerns are so close to the fire that you're going, how are these two things simultaneously happening? Dry outflow wind from the thunderstorm fanning flames of a fire, making it worse, and flooding happening right next to that fire.
Well, we know that it's a situation that can develop quickly, so we'll be keeping an eye on that. But for the entire area, thunderstorms sound like it's part of the deal tonight. Yes,
let's go ahead and dive in because we do have some of those severe thunderstorm warnings still in place, and those are in that region. Here we go. Here's that line of storms. Notice it's skirting just the northern edge of Grant County, and then comes down in south of Grand Coulee as you get over toward those places near Quincy. Here's that storm, and notice it is just staying in this exact same line that it's been in. And that outflow from this storm is what is helping fan the flames of those fires. However, when it comes to the storms themselves, they're in such an area, dumping such an amount of moisture that flood concerns are now under those storms themselves. It's kind of odd that you have simultaneously a storm causing wildfire concerns and flood concerns, but that's where we are. Those severe thunderstorm warnings remain in effect a bit longer. The one farther out to the west is for Ephrata and Soap Lake through 4:45. The one farther east is for Elmira and Wilbur through 4:30 p.m. So this sticks around a bit longer. Wind gusts out of those storms will approach 30 miles per hour. Now, locally in those storms up to 60 miles per hour, but more widespread around 30 miles per hour. What we have is our cold front that moves through, back behind it some regeneration thanks to sunshine heating things up, and a ton of moisture available in the atmosphere. The storms continue to track farther and farther to the east as the evening goes on. But notice they just kind of skirt the northern edge of Grant County and then make their way just north of Lincoln County and then move up into Stevens, Boundary County, and then take over much of North Idaho. Overnight, we'll likely see a little bit more, but I think our main concern for strong storms and lightning kind of through the 8 o'clock hour here tonight. A lot of activity. Cannot emphasize that enough as these storms move through. But it is also creating that fire danger. Thunderstorms and lightning. Thunderstorms are dry thunderstorms. The lightning is frequent, and the outflow from those thunderstorms is what is fanning some of the flames. Notice it does include Interstate 90 through Spokane, down across the Palouse, and off to the north. So it's pretty widespread and mainly areas east of where we're already seeing some of those storms. In addition to the high fire danger from some of those storms through the rest of the evening, we also have some flood concerns right along the line of some of those storms. Notice it is that farther west storm. We have some flash flood concerns just to the west of Chelan, and then flood watches in effect for much of Okanagan County. It is a wild scenario that's taken us through the rest of the evening. We are going to keep a very close eye on that and the overall weather pattern through the rest of the night. But the next few days, it's drying and it's sunnier, but it is a bit cooler. This is a cold front. Cold fronts do what cold fronts do, so mid-80s the next few days before we climb back into the 90s this weekend.